What's going on, Jets fans? It is almost the end of day one in free agency, and the Jets have made a couple of really big moves so far. And I gotta say, Guillermo, I am in 100% agreement with you. They have clearly put the focus on the offense, early on in free agency. There's nothing that says they can't start addressing the defense, and I think that they will. I think they still need to go ahead and get themselves a safety. But right now they've made some big time, moves and re-signing Braxton Berrios. I don't think that there's not enough that can be said about what he did last season for the Jets on offense. And, all of the benefit that he offered and all of the versatility that he offered on offense, even if you got rid of all of those things that he does, he is a really damn good special teamer and a really good kick returner. And there's value in that. Special teams can win and lose you football games every week in the NFL. And Braxton Berrios, I'm very, very excited to have him back. The fact that we were able to land Laken Tomlinson, the guard from San Francisco, I thought was a huge get for the Jets. And, if you check out the free agency predictions video that I put out about a week ago, or I guess it was a couple of days ago, I talked about the benefit of adding somebody like him to the offensive line. They don't have to go into this draft looking for starters now on the offensive line, and that is a tremendous, tremendous benefit. And if you think about it, the last two off seasons, the Jets were fishing and they were hunting for starting players on that offensive line in each of the last two drafts. Mekhi Becton, they drafted him. They needed a starter at the left tackle spot. Elijah Vera Tucker, our guard spot last year, even after drafting him, was still a question mark. And now you've got Mr. Laken Tomlinson, you got Connor McGovern in the center spot, and, George Fant and Mekhi Becton are going to have a battle for the left tackle spot, and I imagine that the other one will take that right tackle spot. So the offensive line project that Joe Douglas took on when he first signed on with the Jets, I think the mission has been accomplished. And when I say mission accomplished, I mean the starting lineup is not doo-doo anymore. It's pretty doggone good. They've made a lot of improvements. Before I keep going and before I keep rambling, I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. If you haven't already, go ahead and jet it up. Hit that like button for me. I would greatly appreciate that. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and check out some of the content. And if you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. We streamed last night and had a hell of a time, had a lot of fun talking with you guys. We even had some of the viewers come on to the show, and I am not opposed at all to doing that again tonight. So if you guys are interested, send me a DM on Instagram or Twitter. I'll keep my eyes on both of those accounts, and we can have a conversation and we can talk. I would love to do that with you guys. Okay, let's get to some of these comments. We've got Dele, and he says Hamilton at 4, Sauce Gardner at 10. I don't think there's any doubt right now. They are filling needs on offense, and I think it's for a good reason. This draft class has some really special and very, very good defensive players in it. And listen, if we go and we add a couple of studs on defense, wouldn't it be nice to be able to watch our defense on Sundays and not feel like throwing up? I think that would be a really exciting thing, to not feel nauseous while watching the defense. And I think that they are looking for fast, young players on defense. So I don't know if it's going to be Hamilton. I don't know if it's going to be Sauce at 10, but I am all in on double defense on defense in the first round. Astral is off the chain. Thank you for waving. What's up, man? Dukes Dose, he says that would be a dream to get both of them. I think that if we land, any combination of defensive players in the first round, there's a lot of them. Pass rushers, linebackers, maybe that's one of the positions we don't hit in free agency, linebacker. Maybe they go to the draft. Guillermo, he said it earlier, the offense is looking much better. I would agree. Manny C says, let's go. The Buffalo Jet fan, he was one of the people that joined me on the show live last night. And he says, day one, put some gray hairs in that beard, my man. I have no problems with what they've done day one. I was never really nervous, and I maybe it's because I already have gray in my beard that I'm just kind of relaxed at this point. I feel good about what they've done. There's still more work that needs to be done. I think safety is still a dire need. Linebacker, wide receiver, of course. So let's get to some more comments here. The Wicked has joined us. What's going on, Wicked? He says, what's going on, bro? I was just watching your video on Barrios and Lakin, hoping that we can sign Allen Robinson here soon. Man, oh man. I don't expect that. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't expect it. And I did predict that we would sign Allen Robinson. I don't think that's going to happen anymore. So I think that Mr. Grant Rudy put it best. Christian Kirk has screwed up this wide receiver market terribly. I thought that the Jaguars, they made some decent moves. They've added some players, obviously. But what kind of contract was that they gave to Christian Kirk? I thought that was outrageous and really just a very, very weird signing by them. And if you didn't know, Christian Kirk, they signed him to, I believe it's like an average of like 20 million, 21 million per year, which is crazy. He's a wide receiver too. I don't know. It boggled the mind a little bit when I saw that. I figure, Christian Kirk, young player, a versatile guy, he can do a little bit of everything, but why in the hell are they paying that much money for him? It just doesn't make much sense to me. So with him signing that contract, I do think that it messes up the wide receiver market. And I think that Allen Robinson, if you're him, how are you not sitting there basically waiting for, 20 million? I think that's kind of what he should be expecting at this point because of the way the market has played out. Uzama is an interesting signing at tight end. And I think I sent out a tweet just a little bit ago and I said, he's 29 years old right now. So even if they really like him and if he plays out the 3-year contract that they gave him, why would they not go and draft a tight end to complement what he's going to bring to this offense? And I think what he brings is exactly what Grant was talking about last night, that red zone threat. And I think that's exactly what Uzama is. He is a guy that will go up and get it. And I'm not saying he's a one-dimensional tight end by any means, but that is kind of his thing, is being able to, go up for those possession receptions. I think it's a great signing. The one thing you have to say with Uzama that you kind of wonder is not a lot of production in his career, other than just a couple of seasons. So I'm sure that the contract is not very risky. It's only $8 million per year on average. But you have to imagine the way Joe Douglas structures these contracts, he's not going to put himself in a position where he's locked into Uzama and has no way of getting out after year 1 or after year 2. So I feel good about it. I feel like we have options. Commander Cool, he says, now we need to go and get Marcus Williams, DJ Jones, the defensive tackle, and boost that defense. The player that the Jets were linked to, one of the strongest links, I should say, was DJ Jones leading up to free agency. That was the guy that everybody was talking about. And right now, I'm okay with waiting on defensive tackle, and I do agree that we do need to address the position. I almost would rather wait and let that market kind of cool down a little bit and maybe go to defensive tackle, maybe day 2, day 3, day 4, somewhere down the line a little bit. I don't want to have to overpay for a defensive tackle right now. I don't think it's one of those positions where I'm like, I gotta get a defensive tackle right this minute on this team. But if they go and get him, I'll be excited, man, because I think he has a lot of, he would be able to help this defense quite a bit. Get after the stopping the run. All right, let's go ahead and let's go to more comments. And by the way, guys, there are a million of you just absolutely going berserk in the comments. There's no way I'm going to be able to keep up with all of you, but I'm very excited to be doing this again with you back-to-back nights. It's going to be a lot of fun. And, again, feel free to send me a message on Twitter or Instagram, and I will try to get you guys on the show in a little bit. Haven't received any as of yet, I don't think. Oh, wait a minute. We got Devin here. He says, let's do this. I have some ideas. Awesome. Devin is ready to go. So I am actually going to go ahead and invite Devin onto the show here. And for the little, preview here, I am going to give him about 2 minutes. And I'm going to do a better job tonight of making sure that we all stick to the 2-minute timer here. I will let you talk, and then I will try to respond to it, let you have a chance to rebuttal to what I say, and then I'll bid you a farewell and a great night. But we do have him joining us in just a few moments here. Let me see if I can get to some more comments before we get him on the show. What's going on, Stephen Engel? And that's exactly right, Lindles. At least we feel like we're part of this free agency period right now. Our team is active, which I think we kind of expected, right? We were expecting them to make some moves. I don't know if we were necessarily expecting them to, reset the market at any positions, because that's not really what Joe Douglas does. But they needed to get some players in here, and they still need to get some more players. And AC with another great comment here. He says, you can kick JFM inside. You still have Rankins too. I think they're going to wind up cutting Rankins. There's no guarantees there, but you're right about JFM. I think he should probably be playing more defensive tackle in 2022 and give him the opportunity to get after the quarterback on the inside. He is plenty big enough, plenty long enough. And again, they like to rotate these guys. So let JFM play all over the place on the defensive line. And I think that's a recipe for success, man. And, if we do decide to keep Rankins, I think that's good. I don't know if he was a disappointment last year, but certainly, maybe not all that we had expected on the inside. But listen, it was his first year with the team. And, I think that with some more continuity on defense and, that chemistry, I think that definitely plays into it a little bit. I think losing Foley Fatukasi hurts, and I'm okay with them letting him go. I think they had to, you just can't pay a run-stuffing defensive tackle, millions and millions of dollars. It's just not the right move, in my opinion. Let's see. Timothy Courier, he says, if they want to set up Zach trade for Metcalf. We've talked a little bit about Metcalf before, and I will revisit that right now. If he were available, I would be all in. Trade aggressively for DK Metcalf, but the big problem here, I don't think he's available. I don't think that's a player that the Seahawks are looking to dump, or to trade, I should say. Kirk's agent is the MVP right now. Yeah. And imagine how excited Christian Kirk is, because I have to imagine he knew he was going to get paid when he entered free agency. But my Lord, I don't know if he was expecting what he got. Can we accept that JD knows what he's doing? Great comment. Yeah, I like what JD's been doing. I liked what he did last free agency. I think people were very, very critical of his free agency tactics. And, Corey Davis, I still feel like there is a lot of potential there on this team. I think that, having Elijah Moore going into year 2 now is going to help Corey Davis. There's going to be a little bit less, I would say a little bit less on Corey Davis's plate to be a target monster, next season. And I think Carl Lawson can end up doing a really damn good job on this defense, man. I think he just needs to get healthy. I think that's really the big thing. If we can get our players healthy, it's going to make a massive change to what we've seen, in his free agencies over the time. Thank you so much to Charles for subscribing. Really appreciate that. And I've got the man, Mr. Devin here. He is on the line, and I'm going to invite him onto the show right now. He's going to talk. And I'm going to put my timer up here. Devin, what's up, man?
Not much, bud. All I got to say is I'm psyched after today's signings. I do believe that Allen Robinson is still on the table. I don't know for how much, or for
Mm-hmm.
what terms, maybe a 1 year prove it to allow him to reset his value for next year. But I do believe we will bring Robinson in. I do believe we have also taken a wide receiver off the table at 10 at this point, with Barrios coming back. And I think that we are getting Allen Robinson.
So
And don't be surprised if we move from
if
10.
we, oh yeah, dude, if we trade back from 10, I think that's a great opportunity to get more picks back, future picks as well. Before I let you go, before we run out of time here, I want you to tell me a little bit about why you think Robinson makes so much sense and why you still feel like we can get him. And I do like the idea you talked about, the 1 year deal. Go ahead and talk a little bit more on that.
I think it makes sense not only for the Jets to bring him in, but for him himself after having a down year
Yep.
to come to a team with an up and coming quarterback and an up and coming coordinator, somebody that honestly, I think he fits the system. He's a hell of a route runner. He's a hell of a pass catcher, and he's a damn good red zone target. He always
Absolutely.
has been. Ever since he was in Jacksonville, even in Chicago, he's never had a good quarterback. I do believe Wilson would be the best quarterback he's ever played with. Now, can't say anything against Fields. We don't know what he's going to become. But as of yet, Wilson would be the best he's had.
Dude, excellent. And I do agree. Like that's the one thing about Robinson is like he's really had a pretty bad luck in his career. Had a couple of injuries, and you said it best, bad quarterback play over his career. Um, so what would you said you would think that would take wide receiver off the board at 10. What would you do at 10 if you're not trading back? I'll let you answer that one. I'm gonna kick you off.
Johnson or
Jermaine.
Stingley.
Oh,
And
Stingley. Interesting.
I don't know what we do it for. I'm
Yeah,
still okay with linemen. Depends on who it is. Because that opens up Fant to go.
interesting. So you might trade him. You could trade feasibly. You could trade Fan, I guess, if you draft a tackle. All right, Devin.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for popping on, dude. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry I
thanks,
didn't get
brother.
you last night. Go Jets,
You're
brother.
good, man. It got crazy.
Yeah, it did. All right, my man. Have a good night. All right, that was Devin popping on to the show. Thank you so much, Devin, for tuning in and for coming on to the show, man. I think that's an awesome thing, having you guys come on here and talk your bit. Let's see here. You have to get someone to go to the Jaguars. Yeah, I guess, right? Zay Jones. I think you guys just broke it in the chat. Zay Jones went to the Jags. Well, I mean, here's what I'll say. Credit to the Jaguars for being aggressive and trying to support Trevor Lawrence. I don't agree with how they're doing it. This is going to be the debate, I think, for the night. I think Allen Robinson's going to be one of the hot button topics in this chat. Is he worth 18 to $22 million? And let's just pretend it's for a 1 year contract right now. Is he worth that? And I've seen a couple of people, talking about how he might not be the match that we need or, the player that we need. I don't want to say that I don't think he would be a good fit. I think he would be a good fit, but I just don't see JD doing it right now. I think he is going to look to that 10th overall pick as a spot where he can go and get another quality wide receiver and not have to pay a king's ransom, because that is something that you have to balance, as a general manager. You have to be able to balance, where are you investing your money? Where are you investing these picks in? And you're certainly going to save a boatload of money if you go to the draft for wide receiver. I'm not saying that I would personally do that. I still think that Robinson makes a lot of sense. But we'll see, man. I think it's going to be a lot of debate on that one. NY Jets Florida, no thanks on Robinson. Christopher Natty, he's saying A-Rob would be a bad move. And I have to imagine that you guys are saying that because of the money. Like that probably is the reason why you guys don't like the idea of bringing him in, is just because of the finances. And I think it's a fair thing to say. We got Bino back on the show 2 nights in a row. Bino, it's good to see you again. He says Robinson isn't signing a 1-year deal and his price is going to be about 21 mil per now. And I agree. I think there's no way you're getting him for less than 20, right? Even if it's a 1-year deal, you're going to have to pay him 20. I can't see a scenario where he's not getting $20 million. Let's see what Vern says. He says, dude, Robinson doesn't need to reset his value. The market is rich as ever right now. No, you're right. He does not need to reset anything. He just needs to get paid, right? He just needs a contract, and he will eventually get it. I am surprised that he wasn't one of the first wide receivers signed, but the day's not over yet. It's only 8:20. He could get signed later tonight. He could get signed tomorrow. We got DW in the chat. He says, big moves today. Awesome, awesome. Now I still want DK. You guys are some greedy mofos. I love it, though. I absolutely love it. Let's go ahead and let me try to catch up to this chat here. And if you guys wouldn't mind, go ahead and hit the like button. We've got 160 people in here, which is bananas. Go ahead and hit the like button right now for me. Help support the channel a little bit. It's close to 2,000 subscribers now, which is really, really cool. I've been working my butt off for it. And if you wouldn't mind, and if you're new and you're enjoying the content, if you've watched videos in the past, consider subscribing as well. Joe Grana, he says, then do we sign our edge? Do we sign Chandler Jones? Great question. I think very strongly they are going to emphasize defense early in this NFL draft. I think that, early, like if you had asked me a month ago what the Jets should do in the draft, I would have told you they need to go extremely, extremely aggressive toward the offensive side of the football and, do all they can to support Zach. But I think we're seeing right now that in free agency, they are accomplishing that. And I still think that they're going to do more to accomplish that. So do we sign an edge? I think eventually, yes. I think they're going to go for that second or third tier guy, which I'm sure will annoy some people. I think a Derek Barnett from the Eagles makes a lot of sense. We lost the defensive end that we brought on last free agency to that 1-year deal. He had that health issue, and I believe I think he was forced to retire. So bringing in a guy on a 1-year deal, 2-year deal that's kind of young like Derek Barnett's a very intriguing option to me. I think, so back to what I was saying, NFL draft, I think that's the way to go, man. Go and get your edge rusher at 4 or 10, and then we can pin our ears back. We've got some pass rushers all over the place. I think it's the way to go. All right, we got a super chat here from Mike Jerome. Thank you for the for the super chat, my man. And he says, 1 out of 3. We spoke last night. A-Rob and Reed, A+. So I think what he's saying here is if we go and get Justin Reed, the safety from the Texans, and if we can go and get a Allen Robinson, it's an A+ free agency. And yes, Vinny Curry. Thank you very much for putting that name in the chat. I could not remember his name. If we go and get a safety, and I do think that's the next position that the Jets will sign, I think they need to go ahead and add another safety. And Justin Reed, I think, would be an outstanding signing. He's young and very, very talented and would give us something that we don't have right now. And that's somebody that has a lot of experience starting, aside from LaMarcus Joyner. And again, I don't know if we all feel real comfortable with Ashton Davis being one of the day one starters week 1 in the NFL season. So give me Justin Reed, give me Jordan Whitehead, give me Xavier Woods from the Minnesota Vikings. There are still a bevy of safeties available. So I'm actually feeling pretty confident that they're going to get a safety sooner rather than later. And then the question will be is Allen Robinson part of the plan? And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say right now, I think no. And I was predicting that they would sign him, but I don't think it's going to work out that way. All right, let's keep it moving here. Get back to some more comments. Let's see. As I said last night, when we were saying 17 to 18 per, JD wouldn't go there for Robinson. He definitely isn't going there for 21 mil. And that's exactly what I'm saying. I don't think there's any way that he's going to touch that. Would he be worth it? Would he be worth having on the team? For sure. but I just don't see JD going there. The other one, thank you for throwing this in the comments. This is one of the nicest commenters on the face of the earth, I tell you. He says, per Garofolo, Gilmore, and he's talking about Stephen Gilmore. I think it's Stephen Gilmore. From the Patriots, from the Panthers. He says that he is down to between the Jets and the Raiders. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that that's another one of those moves that looks like the Jets are going to make it. And I think that he would probably choose the Jets, right? Want to play for Robert Saleh, want to play against the Patriots. I think that there's a little bit of, bad blood with the way they did him at the end of his Patriots career. I think he would like the chance to go against them, 2 times a year. And so I'm going to say that maybe by the end of this stream, we see Stephon Gilmore in green and white. Stephon. I saw your comment and then I was like, geez, of course it's Stephon Gilmore. Oh, well, I'm old. You pointed out my gray hair. You have to understand. I'm just an old man over here. All right. Let's get to some more comments, guys. Feel free to DM me. I think I've already mentioned it a couple of times. Feel free to DM me and send me a DM on Twitter or on Instagram. I am keeping my eyes on that. Got nothing right now. Let's see what Instagram is looking like. Nothing there too. You guys are shy. It's okay. I can keep talking. All right. Ooh, Schefter is saying that the Gilmore is finalizing a deal with the 49ers. Okay, so that was wrong. Gilmore, it's interesting. I think that could have been a really good move. If that is the truth, that he is finalizing with the Niners, that could have been a really nice move for the Jets. I would imagine that they gave him an offer. They said, here's your, dollar amount, whatever it may have been. And I'm sure they were not willing to go beyond that. I can't imagine that they would budge on the, budge on the price. Kind of like what they did with Braxton Berrios, which, by the way, the Jets managed that situation, and Joe Douglas deserves a ton of credit. He should get all the credit for only paying Braxton Berrios a $6 million contract, which I think most fans were all in agreement. That's a great deal. A special teams ace and a guy that can do all kinds of things on offense and somebody that Zach Wilson connected with. You know damn well that Joe Douglas offered that same offer at the beginning of the offseason, right? It only makes sense. Okay, Braxton, here's your 2-year, $12 million offer. Take it or leave it, buddy. And I bet you that's the same contract that he was offered to begin this thing. All right, let's get to some more comments here. The other one, again, throwing that kindness that he does. He says, Jets fans, y'all need to sub this man. Constant fire, entertainment, and takes. Really appreciate that, my man. Maybe you should come on the show, the other one. I would love to have you on, man. Let's see. Sylv Scouts with the sweet Revis profile. He says, just subscribe. Thanks for being so active. I appreciate it, man. This is fun. Love talking Jets. Been a Jets fan for a long time. All right. Gilmore is going to the Niners. I'm hearing that now from more than one person, so it must be true. NNYF. He says, what is your opinion of the Buffalo Bills as contenders in the AFC East? I would imagine they're the front runners, right? Right? The Bills have to be front runners. I'm assuming you're a Bills fan, and if that's the case, you're welcome here. Yeah, they clearly are the leader in the clubhouse, I would have to imagine. So we'll see. We will see about the Buffalo Bills. They are, they're in the fact that they lost that game. Holy cow. When they lost that divisional round versus the Chiefs, I did not feel bad for Bills fans, but at the same time, I was thinking about what if that were me? That was a painful loss that you guys suffered. Just terrible way to end the game. Gilmore wanted to go to a team that will contend, and I think it's fair to say the San Francisco 49ers are a contending team, even with, having Trey Lance coming into his first, starting season. They were a really good football team despite Jimmy Garoppolo really not being all that great himself. So I think that's fair to say, Ephraim. Ephraim, why don't you come on the show? I heard some people recommending you to join me. Why don't you join me? Chris A, he says, please get Marcus Williams. Want the best guy here. Reed is okay. Get the best. We have the cash. I think that here's the thing. I think they're going to do both. They're going to sign somebody and they're going to draft somebody. I think that's the way to go. And, you know, maybe they do end up with Marcus Williams. He's still sitting there. You know, maybe there's a chance. Maybe there is a chance. Mr. Jeremy, dude, pop on. Let's go. Mr. NFL Chaos with Jeremy. Let's get on here, man. You just say the word. I'm sending that invite, brother. Christopher Natty, he says, Clowney at a good price wouldn't be a bad move. What about Matthew? I don't want to sound like a vague fan or anything, but to me, I'm open to a lot of different things. Like Matthew on defense would be phenomenal. He's a veteran. He is an absolute physical and emotional leader for a team, and he has been that for the Chiefs. Just an absolute beast for them, and a playmaker too. He makes a lot of plays. I don't see how you can say, you know, no to Matthew, but also to a lot of these guys. We need help. The Jets are not in a position where they can be like, oh yeah, like he looks like he might be okay. Okay would be an improvement. I don't want to settle though. So I get what you're saying. Matthew would be very interesting for sure. T-Dog911, he says, very happy to see Braxton Berrios back in the fold. The other signings were excellent. Go Jets. Okay, and now you guys you're catfishing me. Who you catfishing sons of guns? Gilmore is still available. Nothing finalized yet. Michael Elias is saying not final yet. You'll see all kinds of, you know, fake tweets and rumors. Don't buy any of it unless Adam Schefter himself has tweeted it. That guy is the one that you need to look to for your breaking NFL news. In my opinion, that's the guy I look to. We have got 184 of you guys in this live stream. Smack the like button immediately. Hit it. And I need you to consider subscribing if you're brand new here. And if you're not commenting in the comments and if you want your voice heard, go ahead and throw your comments in there. I will do my best to find them. Jonathan Choice, he says, the Jets will not sign a wide receiver. The market is too high. I'm okay with trading down from 10 and drafting a wide receiver later in the first round. Let's talk about that. Chris Olave would be a great value in the 20 range, maybe in the teens. Trade back from 10 and you go get yourself Chris Olave. I think he would be fantastic in this offense. You can trade back and potentially land yourself a Treylon Burks. There are a ton of fans, a segment of Jets fans that love Treylon Burks. And you have to imagine his size-speed combination, although he's not quite as fast straight line as we had thought. He's a big dude, and he can make plays. He's a really good guy with the football in his hands. I am down for trading back and landing another wide receiver. And then another guy that I really like is Jahan Dotson out of Penn State. I think we could trade back into the late first round and land him, pair him up with Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Braxton Berrios. I think that they all fit the scheme, Chris Olave and Jahan Dotson. I think they would be great fits, and I think Zach Wilson would love throwing to those guys. Jonathan Choice, thanks for commenting. Thank you for the comment. Great stuff. I celebrated. I think they have a pretty good chance in the AFC East. Good. Quick Dolo, good to see you in the chat. You don't often see the letter Q on people's profiles. That's a new one. He says, Berrios was a telling signing. This organization is in a different direction. Thank you, Christopher Natty, for subscribing. Really appreciate that. No one ever comes back. That makes me optimistic about what's coming. Yes. Great, great point to make. Great point to mention. A lot of people have crushed the Jets, and probably rightfully so, to be perfectly square with you. People have crushed the Jets for years now for never retaining the young talent and the players that they develop. I know people were upset when they let Robbie Anderson go. I know that there were a segment of fans that were upset to see Jamal Adams go. And the list goes on. Even Darrelle Revis, in his prime, we let him go. We traded him to the Bucks. There is something to be said for player development and retaining those players, not just developing them and then letting them walk or trading them away. We are now in that stage of Joe Douglas's career where he is now actually keeping the players that he's brought in that he feels like will change the culture of this franchise. Jonathan Franklin Myers is a guy that comes to mind. Braxton Berrios is now a guy that comes to mind. Excuse me. And it's only going to increase as the years go by. I really believe that. And hopefully, Quinnen Williams, let's say Quinnen Williams just goes out there and has a bomb-ass season and has a Pro Bowl season, gets close to double-digit sacks. Bring that guy back to New York, re-sign him. Don't play around. If we've got pass rushers up front, I don't care where they're playing on the line, bring him back. And I know there are fans that are down on Quinnen Williams. I think if he can put it all together and if we can get that edge to play, Carl Lawson, Kayvon Thibodeau, whoever it may be, I think that's going to change things for Quinnen Williams in a massive, massive way. Not going to be able to double team him every down, and it's going to free him up to be able to make some serious plays up the middle of the line. Let's go ahead. I got a bunch of people messaging me right now, which is awesome. Let me see if I can get some of you guys on here. We got here. Let's see here. Zeus. What do you got for me, Zeus? I see you messaging me. Do you want to come on? Let me know. Who else do I have on here? Let's see. I'm not sure if you want to come on. There's some people. Let's get Jeremy. Send the link, he says. Let's go, Jeremy. Let's go. This is a guy that, I talk to quite a bit, and he has his own YouTube channel as well. He covers the Jets, and just a very good dude. He's also in the field of education like I am, and so he's been invited. He's going to join me in a few moments here. So we'll see. I'm just so excited to be talking about all this stuff with you guys. It's so much fun talking Jets. Mike Gee, he says, I've read that Justin Hardy is recruiting Williams. Let's go. Justin Hardy, say what you want about him. I think he's phenomenal, by the way. He's a great leader for our special teams unit and for the team as a whole. He has been active lately on social media and talking about how excited he is for all these players that we're going to be bringing in. Sean Kelleher, thank you for subscribing, dude. Sorry I butchered your last name. You can sense that the players that are on this team not only are happy to be here, but are eager to bring more guys in here to change the identity of this team. So I didn't hear that. I'm really excited to hear that about Mr. Justin Hardy. Michael N. He says, we got CJ Uzama. We got him fairly cheap, but I'm not in love with the signing. He's coming off of his best year, and I don't think it's because he progressed, but more so because he had a great quarterback. He's average at best. I love the comment, actually, and so I'm going to get to you, and then I'm going to get to Jeremy. The first thing I want to say about that is I think you're fair. Like you're saying he's terrible and he sucks. The thing that I really like what you're saying is that it's a good deal. They got him for a fair price, but there are questions with CJ Uzama, right? And I think the big question that I have personally right now as I sit here is what's the contract look like as far as a potential out after year 1 or year 2? Because if they have that flexibility, it doesn't matter to me. Bring him in. We needed somebody at tight end, man. We had to get somebody. All right, let me invite Mr. Jeremy on. Jeremy Cravat, he is now officially on the channel. What's up, Jeremy?
What is going on? Can you hear me?
I can hear you crystal clear, brother. How you doing, man?
Oh, man, what a great day, right?
Great
awesome.
day. Yes. It's exciting, man. Listen, we do not have to convince ourselves to be calm during free agency, during the off season. I say screw all of that. Be excited. This is what fandom is all about, right?
I'm telling you, the first hour and a half, people were already panicking. It was unbelievable. People were freaking out. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it just started to light up. The boards just like everything just went nuts. And if you would have asked me, well, it happened. When I was asked multiple times over the past 2 weeks, who's on your wish list? One of the first names that would come out of my mouth is Lakin. So I was doing just somersaults when I saw that go down, man.
Yes, dude. There's going to be more moves. They're going to be making a lot of moves in the next couple of days, and I think there's still going to be another one tonight. I really do believe that. I think they're going to sign somebody, sometime tonight before we go to bed. I do have a couple of super chats, and I will get to you guys, but I do want to hear from you, Jeremy. What's burning on your mind right now? Something that you want to reflect on as far as a move they've made, or maybe a move that you want them to make that they haven't made yet? Just go ahead and go berserk.
Well, I was thinking tight end all day, and then that happened. The safety position, getting a guy in there, even a veteran would be fine. Because I still think it's a deep draft for safeties. I wouldn't want to do anything that would like replace the idea of taking a safety. I think this is a good year to take a safety. But still signing one and bringing one in would take a little pressure off. As far as having to go too high on a safety.
Yes.
It's interesting. A wide receiver. I don't want like the big money WR1 for the next bunch of years for the team. I'd rather see that come via the draft. But I wouldn't mind adding somebody to the wide receiver room, like just throwing another solid guy in there, and then go into the draft and take another guy that way, doubling up like that. I don't think there are really that many linebackers out there, so I'm a little concerned about that. Like I don't want to reach and sign a linebacker just to sign a linebacker.
You mean like Jared Davis?
Exactly. So I'm, overall, I'm feeling pretty good. Just with the draft is what I'm excited about now because, man, now you look at that top 10, those 2 picks we have in the top 10, and you take away the pressure and the weight of having to take an Aquano.
I love that flexibility, dude. I love the flexibility.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. But I do want to say, just give people time, and if this is okay with you,
sure.
I would love to give one of your viewers a prize right now. I'd love to do a giveaway at some point. I want to give them time because the one little thing, and you can understand why and what I do this for. It's very obvious. I don't try to hide what I'm doing. I have a ton of collectibles and things I'm giving out, and instead of selling it to a dealer, I decided to help build my channel through it. So all I'm asking from everyone is be a sub to my channel and you can win any of my giveaways.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was going to say that. You guys should absolutely check Jeremy's channel out for sure. Before I kick you, what wide receiver right now? Because you mentioned wide receiver as maybe that would be the place you'd go. Who's your guy right now? And maybe it's more than one dude, but who's your dude at wide receiver that you see as a wide receiver 1?
In the draft?
Sure, because you had mentioned that, right?
Yeah. I love Christian Watson. And even from before the combine. So the combine actually made me mad. I was like, damn it, everybody's learning about him. He's going to move up, because he was a hidden guy from a guy named Dom, who I actually do a show with. He told me about him and turned me on to this guy. And I know he hasn't played against the same competition and people are concerned about that, but that's just about the only concern you could have with this kid. Everything else just checks every box. Traylon Burks, who can complain about Traylon Burks? I know he's not as fast as people want. They like to see the 4.4 speed. But when you look at the guy's tape, give me a break. And now that we don't need to take a Quano, a Garrett Wilson at 10, I wouldn't complain about that.
There are so
So
many
we
good
have,
options, right?
yeah. We and Jahan Dotson. I wouldn't mind him as he's a good chance to be a WR1.
Awesome. Listen, thank you so much for coming on, guys. Go ahead and check out Jeremy Cravat's channel.
Oh, you don't want me to give away something now? Because I'm ready to go.
You do it on your channel, buddy. That's how you get them.
Okay. I just wanted to say I wanted to give one of you Rue something right now, but okay, we can do it another time.
That's very kind of you. Thank you so much for popping on, man.
All right. Take care, my friend.
Take it easy, my man. See ya. Thank you, Jeremy Cravat. And I do apologize, guys. I was going to get to these super chats and then we'll get back to the comments here. So Buffalo Jet fan, you just sent me $1. I really do appreciate the super chat, my man. That small amount is very, very helpful. Really appreciate that. Good Bus 77. He says, what do you think of the Jets drafting Cade Mays out of Tennessee? I'll be perfectly honest with you, Good Bus. Don't know a whole lot about Cade Mays. I will be looking into him, though, because you've dropped his name into my chat. But I will say there are a number of guys that I really like and that I'm eyeing in that second round. Brisker, Hill, Pitry, you name it. There are a couple of guys that are really, really intriguing in that second round range. And I think that that's where the Jets should go. Because I think that that's where the best value is right now at safety, is going in that second round and just going and get the guy that you really like. I don't know if Dax Hill will be there, but Brisker and Lewis Cine as well is another guy that I think that a lot of fans, are hitching their wagon to. Explosive athlete, big time hitter. I'm down for Lewis Cine and I'm down for a lot of different safeties. I'll be investigating Cade Mays, though. Still got to learn a little bit. I'm certainly not a Mel Kiper for sure, but I'll be checking him out for sure. Thank you for putting that into the chat, Good Bus 77. And then Tyler Clayton. He says, option on Jarvis Landry. So Jarvis Landry would be an interesting option. The only problem is we just re-signed Braxton Berrios. And Braxton Berrios, he's gonna live in the slot, and I think that that's kind of what Jarvis Landry is as well. And the other problem with Jarvis Landry, there's a report out there that says that his agent basically said he's not interested in coming to the Jets. Whether or not that's true is yet to be seen, but I just don't think that with the re-signing of Braxton Berrios, if it makes a ton of sense to go and pay, because he's probably going to be pretty expensive. I would imagine that, Jarvis Landry is going to probably command over $10 million, I would think. He's a pretty good slot wide receiver. So to answer your question, he is certainly a good option for the slot, but I think he's going to choose a different team. And I think that the Jets already have their guy in the slot in Braxton Berrios. All right, let's see here. We got the Buffalo Jet fan super chat. Thank you so much again. Really appreciate that. He says, thanks for going back-to-back nights for us. I'd be happy to pop in and solve the rest of our off season in 2 minutes flat. Yes, sir. Absolutely. I don't think I've gotten any other people. Let me take a peek at that real fast here. Let's see if I've got others. No. And no. So yes. Come on, man. Let's do this thing. All right. I'm going to invite Mr. Buffalo Jet fan on here. And you have the link from yesterday, and I did not change the link. So let me go ahead and put you on the show real quick here. Where the heck are my messages? There they are. Awesome. The link has been sent to you, and I will see you in just a minute. Fierce Grim. Pretty sweet little profile picture you got there. He says, how about Eddie Goldman from the Chicago Bears? From what I understand, Eddie Goldman, I think he didn't have a very good year last year, I don't think. Would I be intrigued by bringing him in, though, because of the youth and because of the fit with this 4-3 scheme? Yes. And I don't think it would break the bank, which personally I'm in favor of. I don't want to overspend on a defensive tackle. So the intrigue is certainly there with an Eddie Goldman. Lots and lots of comments, guys. I'm going to do my best to get to as many of these as I can. Let's see here. Oh, man. You guys are just going crazy. Vern, he says, you can grab the best safety option in the draft, not free agency. He's saying, go get Hamilton. Listen, you have been riding that bus all off season long, and I give you full, tip of the cap for that one because you're not backing down from it. I still am going to suggest that going in round 2 to get your safety is the better value. But listen, man, if they opt for Hamilton, which they could be doing, that's the thing. They could disagree with what I'm saying, and they might agree with what you're saying. And if that's the case, he's a playmaker, man. He is a bona fide playmaker in the back end. And if they go and add him, you certainly could make that case. Grant Root is saying he does not fit the 4-3 whatsoever. I'd have to read about that. I don't know. I know he played on the 3-4, but maybe that's why he's been struggling because they play a 4-3 in Chicago, no? I don't know, but that could be why. All right, let's get Mr. Buffalo Jet fan on the screen. What's going on, dude?
Hey, man, can you hear me?
I can hear you crystal clear.
Alrighty, so here is my blueprint to solve the rest of our offseason needs. I think we're out on big names, but I think we're going to pair some value signings with our draft picks to solve the rest of our needs. So here's what I'm going to do. I think we could all agree that our needs are wide receiver 1, corner 1, another tight end, safety, edge, linebacker. That's what we need. So here's what we're going to do. Wide receiver 1, I think Allen Robinson is a little unrealistic, so I'm going to save the 10th pick for that. Whichever guy you like best. For me, it'd be Garrett Wilson. Corner 1, I'm going to go with the 4th overall pick, Sauce Gardner. So our first 2 draft picks take care of those 2 needs. I'm going to get another tight end in the 2nd round. My guy's Trey McBride, but there's some good value there. Then safety, I'm going to go with a value signing of like a Justin Reed and a Jordan Whitehead, and then grab another safety in the 3rd round to compete with like Pinnock, who don't sleep on Pinnock, and Ashton Davis I don't think will make the team. Then at edge, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pair a value signing like Barnett with another 2nd round pick, like Mafe Boye. Then finally at linebacker, we're going to have to do some bargain shopping. That might be the one place where we're left a little thin, but someone like an AJ Klein, who was a backup for the Buffalo Bills. And then maybe you snag a guy in the 4th rounder and hope Quincy Williams improves with his 2nd full-time year as a starter.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that maybe we're not counting on enough is Quincy Williams taking a step, beyond what he was doing last season, because let's be honest, he looked like one of the better defensive players on the team on a defense that didn't really look so good at times last year. So having him take another step next year certainly isn't off the table, right? Like what are your expectations if they don't go and address linebacker aggressively, which I think is fair because that's, maybe a lesser need in regards to some of the other ones. But what are your thoughts on Quincy next year?
I mean, to me, I know the Pro Football Focus score was low, but to me, he was flashed as really fast on tape, and he was all over the place. I think sometimes he played too fast and would kind of overreact and would get caught out of position. So I think he needs some more discipline with his speed, but I think he's definitely a player that at worst is a really high quality backup and can maybe contribute on special teams. But he's only 25 too. And it was his first year in the scheme. And you got to think like the linebackers, when the defense is so bad, like I feel like CJ and Quincy were playing hero ball because they're like, the guys in front of me can't get a pass rush. The guys behind me at safety don't know what they're doing. So our linebackers, CJ and Quincy, felt like they had to do everything and make every play.
I think you're completely right in that the hero ball thing is not, I think that's fair to say for the linebackers. I think they were trying to make plays in games when there was clearly no support around them. I don't know if that's for sure the case, but it felt like it at times, over pursuing, overthinking at times, and just trying to
getting
do
Gardner
too
Minshew'd
much.
To death.
Oh my God, dude, that game was painful.
It's a bubble screen. Wow, yeah. For the 12th time. My God. All right, I know I'm over the 2 minutes, man, but thanks for having me on.
Dude, absolutely. Thank you again for coming on, dude. So much fun.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Alrighty. And there goes Buffalo Jet fan again. Thank you so much for coming on. Oh, this is fun again. I wish that we were making a signing right now. I'm jealous of all of the other, the Jets content creators out there that go live and there's a huge signing while they're online. I think that would be a lot of fun because then we could react live to it. Matt Morris with a great comment. He says, fixing the lines will improve everything. And listen, of all of the things that I feel pretty strongly about, I think it's that. I think that, and that's the one thing that we're really lucky about with this regime, with Robert Saleh, with Joe Douglas. They are holding hands on that one. They have the same exact philosophy. They want to build through the trenches. They want to improve the line play. And you're absolutely on the money with that. That it's a big time help to your other players, your linebackers, and you're talking about your running backs and your quarterback. That's what's going to make your offense and your defense go, is being able to dominate the line of scrimmage. So I think that you're on the money with that one. Mark Crooks, he says Hamilton at 4, Jermaine Johnson at 10. Whoo! Jermaine Johnson at 10 might be one of my favorite ideas right now, because I think that, Thibodeau at 4, I think if he's there and if he's available, I think that's a no-brainer. I think you're taking Thibodeau, in my opinion. But if he's not there, I'm almost smiling, because then you can take your DB, your wide receiver at 4, maybe a little bit of a reach, but not much of a reach. Because I think there's a case to be made for Sauce Gardner in the top 10. And in this draft class, the top 5 is not that strong. So why not take him at 4? Why not take a Garrett Wilson at 4? Why not take a Sauce Gardner at 4 as well? So then that's the situation. You take one of those guys, and you can then take your edge at 10. Trayvon Walker comes into the conversation. Jermaine Johnson comes into the conversation. George Karlaftis comes into the conversation, and it just becomes this enormous domino effect. If one guy is not available, it opens up so many other interesting options for the New York Jets. So I don't think we're locked into any one plan. All right, commercial break. Hit that like button. We got 174 people in here, and we've got 117 likes. It's the easiest thing to do in the world. You click the button and it goes beep. Do that for me. I would greatly appreciate that. And so many of you are new to the channel. I can tell just because I've never seen your faces before. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, go ahead and do that. Join my little community of Jets fans here online. And, we're just going to keep grinding, and I'm going to keep creating content for you guys to chew on and to talk about. That's what this is all about. All right, Pedro De Jesus, he says DJ Jones and Mark Williams ASAP. Phew. Man, that would be big. That would be big to be able to address the line of scrimmage like we were just talking about, and to be able to get that great coverage and playmaking ability in the secondary. That would be a massive improvement and addition to our defense. Let's see what Jeffrey R. says. We are a better football team already. And that's why it's so exciting at this time of year, because with each addition, you're looking at the light at the end of the tunnel, especially for fans like us, where we've been struggling for so long to build something and to build any positive momentum towards winning. When we see these players like Laken Tomlinson, I was on Twitter, throughout, the afternoon, and I was following, some of the players that he played with in San Francisco. And there were a number of them. And I saw 3. Deebo Samuel was one. Trent Williams, the offensive tackle for the 49ers, was another one. And they were all sending messages saying what a great player he was, what an unbelievable teammate he is. And these are the players that Joe Douglas is looking for, these guys that are going to not only make an impact on the football field, but also are going to change the culture. And that's really what we're after. We want this whole franchise to become one of the best in the NFL. And that's what Joe Douglas talked about in his press conference when he was hired. He wanted to make this the greatest sports franchise in all of sports. And I think that's a huge, bold statement to make. But yeah. And a lot of people are talking about Buffalo Jets fan liking what he's saying. I think that there were a lot of great things that everybody that's come onto the show has said. There's a lot of great takes out there by you guys. And yes, There's a lot of cool things being said by our fan base, no doubt. Who's a quality backup? Who are we talking about? Maybe I missed something. Let me know who you're talking about. I'm not sure who it is. Spin Max Dave, he says, we need an edge early in the draft. Get after the quarterback. It's something that really bothers me. I think that one of the most painful things to watch on Sunday is a quarterback having all day to throw and the running game just blowing through your defense with no resistance by the defensive players. I get so sick and nauseous watching quarterbacks that we're going against just sitting back there in the pocket, chewing on a sandwich, throwing touchdowns, and having all day to throw. And by addressing edge early, pick 4, pick number 10, that S is going to stop real quick. And that's got to be something that bothered Robert Saleh, right? He's the head coach, Jeff Ulbrich, the defensive coordinator. You have to imagine that this bothered them last year, not being able to get a consistent pass rush down to down, game to game, and week to week. It's got to get fixed and it's got to get better. Fierce Grim, he says, how about giving Zach a familiar face from BYU? Tyler Algier, the running back. This is a explosive running back who, he's not going to have like burning straight line speed. I think he only ran a 4.6 at the combine. But he's a big dude, over 220 pounds. And he's physical, runs hard through the holes, and does not go down easily, does not get brought down by arm tackles. And the other thing that I really like with him is he's a bruiser, but he can catch the football. This is a really decent running back out of the backfield catching passes. I think that pairing him up back with Zach Wilson is a winning combination. I have no doubt in my mind that if they can bring him in, have him complement Michael Carter, fantastic. Let him, carry the ball on those short yardage situations, because I'm not saying that Michael Carter can't do that, but let's give him a break every once in a while. Let's not run Michael Carter into the ground and give him 20 plus touches every week. Let's get him in that range of 15 to 18 touches and keep him fresh and have another running back that can come in there and make big plays too, because that's what I think Tyler Algier can do. All right, we got another super chat. It is from Mr. NFL Chaos with Jeremy. Thank you, Jeremy, for the super chat. Really mean a lot to me. He says, John, you are only getting started. You are the man. You are the man. 10K subs by 2023. Holy cow, I doubt that. Listen, man, I'm having fun. That's what this is all about, right? Having fun. I don't know, man. I don't know what else to say. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. I guess I'm at a loss for words. I enjoy doing this a lot, and we get to do this. We get to do this together. This is a fan base, and I think I talked about it last night. This is one of the coolest fan bases, one of the strongest fan bases online in the entire National Football League. We are represented so well online and so professionally. There are so many great people contributing to covering this team. It's very, very humbling. And I'm very, very happy to be a part of it. A small part of it, but I'm happy to be a part of it nonetheless. John Carney, he says, who should we target next in free agency? A very simple question, but a very, very good one. I say safety. I'm going for Jordan Whitehead from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going for safety Justin Reed from the Houston Texans. I'm looking at safety Tyrann Mathieu. I think he'd be great. Go get a safety. And I know a lot of people really want Marcus Williams. I think it's kind of a similar scenario with Allen Robinson. I think that we might not be willing to pay, that super high price, to fill that need. So go get one of those second tier safeties and draft somebody as well, John. I think that's the move for me right now, is go get your safety and pair him up with Joyner, and then let that younger player come in and play, contribute in certain situations and let him take over in 2023. I think that's the ideal move. And again, free agency wise, that's my next spot. Safety's got to get addressed. And along with linebacker, I would like to see. Cornerback, I'd like to see too. All right. Jim Pock says running back. Now we're talking. No other podcast does. I do think there is I think there is a case to be made that you don't want to overdraft a running back and you don't want to overpay a running back. But I think it's crazy to suggest that they don't bring value to a football team, and especially to a young quarterback. Getting a running back in here to complement Michael Carter is, in my opinion, one of the sneaky moves that needs to be made this offseason that, like you said, most people aren't talking about. I do think Michael Carter needs a little bit of help. I'm not saying that he's not capable of carrying the load, but give him the chance to carry the football, to catch the football 15 to 18 times and let him make plays. He doesn't need to do, the Saquon Barkley thing. He doesn't need to do the Derrick Henry thing. Make him an Alvin Kamara. Make him a guy that gets his touches and he makes the most of them when he gets them. All right, Mike Donovan subscribed to Jets Today. Thank you so much for subscribing, dude. Really appreciate the support, guys. Can we get to 2,000 tonight? That's my question. That would be amazing, right? Let's see. Garrett Wilson at 10. I think it's definitely a possibility. Braden, he says, Quinnen Williams, Jonathan Franklin Myers, and Jonathan Marshall. Could that be enough at defensive tackle? I think that they're going to need to add more players, but I think I've made my case pretty clear here. I'm not going to overspend for the position. So can we get by with that? Yeah, I think so. Rotationally wise, I think we can get, one or two more guys in here, cheap contracts, and some more draft picks, get some more guys in here that can compete and can be a part of the rotation. But certainly, those four guys that you mentioned, it's a good start. And I just think that they need more depth. I think that's the big thing. All right. I'm losing my breath over here. One Nation Underground. Who Day? This is a Bengals fan. This is pretty cool. This is really cool, actually. He says, Bengals fan here. Y'all got a great leader and player in CJ Uzomah. Congrats. That is very, very cool of you. Congrats on your team making it to the Super Bowl last year, almost winning it. I'm sure that hurts. And, your team is clearly on the up and up. Joe Burrow is special. And, things look good. You guys are going to be in your division. And I think you're going to be a competitive team in your division for an extremely long time. So props to you. Thank you so much for coming in and telling us that. I did watch a little clip of him on Twitter, and he was hyping his boys up on the squad. So he is definitely a leader, as you said, and vocal leader too. Not just a guy that's going to, lead by example. He is a vocal guy as well, which is cool. I think we need more guys like that. A Mitch, he says, we need edge, linebacker, safety, wide receiver, and cornerback. All still doable. It's very doable. And we're not going to maybe get all those positions in free agency, but we have premium draft picks. This is why it's always going to be one of those situations where you have to be able to go to all the different avenues to build your football team. You can't just do it through the draft. You can't just do it through free agency. And the Jets hold, as you know, I'm sure, and many of you know, we hold 5 draft picks in the top 70. That is massive, 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 massive for a team like this that is still looking to fill holes and to get more youth. We can absolutely check all of those boxes off by the end of the off season. We will have filled these needs with drafted players or with free agents. And the secret sauce is going to be, what does our coaching staff do to get the most out of all these guys, all these new faces, and getting the most out of Zach Wilson? That's the other thing that's huge. If Zach hasn't proven anything even worse for Mims, 0 touchdowns. Yeah, Mims, we don't want to talk about Mims, do we? I think Mims is probably gone. I think that's the rumor that I'm getting from people that are connected to the Jets, and they have some sources. Will Parkinson from Turn on the Jets came onto the show, just a couple of days ago, and he talked about how Denzel Mims, they're not expecting him to be on the football team. So I think they're going to move on from Denzel. Old Dave Echeverry? Sorry, that's terrible. One Nation, that's a classy comment and good to hear. Thank you. Yes, extremely classy to come on and not be a complete douche. Very cool of him. All right, let's check the comments on Twitter. I'm seeing maybe some people want to join. Here, let's see here. No. Instagram. No. Okay. Yeah, dude, I want a video call. I want somebody to come on the show. If you guys did not know, it's on the screen right there. DM me on Twitter. DM me on Instagram. Would love to have you come on to the show, be a part of it. Tell me your takes for free agency. And just tell me where you expect things to go, over the next 48 hours or so. Let's see here. Around how much money how much money is Williams going to get? So the rumor that I've heard is 16 and a half, 17 million for Marcus Williams. And that's basically paying him as a top 5 safety in the National Football League. I'm pretty sure that's the case. So that's about the range that I would expect him to sign for. But it just depends. Maybe the safety market, have any safeties really been signed as of right now? I don't know if there has been. And Marcus Williams is really very talented and still super young. I think he's going to get bank. He's going to make a lot of money this offseason. But right now, the teams they're not banging down these safeties' doors. And so maybe it's a waiting game. Even this top guy like Allen Robinson, like Marcus Williams, these are guys that are still available in free agency. But I would expect anywhere from $16 to $17 million for him. I think that's probably his range as of right now. Dele83. How you doing, Dele? He says, focus on the defense, and that's going to simplify things for Zach Wilson on offense. I think that there is absolutely the case to be made that if you fix or if you improve the defense, it will help Zach Wilson a lot. All right, we've got another comment from somebody. Let me make sure do you want to come on the show? Because I got somebody DMing me, but they're asking me a question. Do you want to come on the show, buddy? All right, Chris A. talking about a power back. And by the way, if you're into running backs, we are going to do a live stream on Wednesday. James Wighouse from Jets X Factor is going to be joining me. He is a contributor for Jets X Factor, and we are going to do a top 10 running backs ranking for the NFL draft. So if you're into that, and if you like, these live streams that you're watching, because again, tons of you guys are tuning in right now. If you're into it, come join us on Wednesday night. It'll be James and I, and we will be ranking those top 10, and we'll be discussing all of the signings that we make from now until Wednesday night. So Dameon Pierce from Florida, he can catch, he can block, he has burst, he can run through people. And yeah, everything that I've seen and everything that I've read about Dameon Pierce, very, very exciting. And he also ran like a 4.5 40-yard dash. So this is not just a, like a plow, up the middle of the field all day long running back. I think he has, the versatility, and you talked about it, blocking, catching, and burst, and physical. I think Dameon Pierce is going to be one of the running backs that maybe goes a little earlier, or I should say ahead of some of the other running backs, that people are talking about. And I think he could be, as early as a 3rd or a 4th round pick. I think he's that good. And he's pretty high on my list as well in the NFL draft as far as running backs go. Excellent. Yeah, old Dave. DJ Jones next to Quinnen Williams would be awesome. Rotating Jonathan Franklin Myers as well. I agree with that completely. Morpheus Vivo. He says Jets are terrible. Okay. Well, listen, man. You're probably right. The Patriots have owned us for a long time. But let's be classy here. Let's be classy. Let's keep it moving here. Harry W., do you think Stephon Gilmore will be a good signing? If we bring him in, Harry, I do think it's a good signing. It would be a short-lived, he wouldn't be here for very long. I don't think he'd be a part of the long-term plans. And I think that that's kind of the idea here, is that he would be able to help the secondary. It's extremely young still. Bryce Hall is still young. Brandon Eccles is young. You get him in here and he's going to be able to, be a starter and give these guys an opportunity to play in a limited role and to be able to learn and to develop with this coaching staff. So I am fully on board with bringing him in, and I do think it would be a good signing. And Chris is kind of confirming what I said about 16 mil. He's 25 years old. He would be worth it. I think Marcus Williams is on the top of a lot of people's wish lists. Jim Pock, I know you're subscribed. I appreciate that, brother. Means a lot to have you guys supporting my channel here on YouTube. All right, let's keep going. We got lots and lots of comments. Jeffrey R., he says CJ Uzomah is full of energy for sure. Yeah, we need energy. We need, some swagger on our offense. I think that that's certainly something that's missing. And I think that I think the other thing is you really do need some swagger. And I think that's what Zach Wilson, with some more, development, I think that's what he offers. We saw a little bit of it last year. There were certain flashes where you're like, damn, this dude, if he's given, the supporting cast that he needs to be successful, he can be a baller. I really do believe that. And I think that if he starts to sense that he's starting to click, I think we're going to see him unlock, all of his true talent. And it'd be amazing, to witness that in 2022. Madison, this is very kind of you. Do you go live every night? Love the podcast. I do not go live every night. I work all day. I'm a teacher, actually. And I have a wife. I have a daughter. This is really just a side thing that I love to do for fun. But no, not every night. And I try to create video content on the weekends. And I also, have gone live. I've been going live during the week over the last year or so. Really appreciate the comment, though. It makes me feel all happy and good feelings on the inside. So thank you for saying that. It means a lot. One Nation Underground, he says that CJ had surgery in 2020. Yeah, that's another concern. I guess that's fair to mention, right? That he had a knee problem. And again, I'm still very eager to see the details of this contract. Do we have an out after year one? Because if we do, it's another one of those, it's another one of those moves where you're saying to yourself, okay, the upside's really good. He played really good for the Bengals in a Super Bowl run. And then if you can get out after 1 year, what's the risk? If there's not going to be a massive cap hit, if we cut him after year one, it's worth the swing. And it certainly is better than what we've been dealing with the last couple of years. And I know that you're a Bengals fan, One Nation, but the Jets have, and I'm saying this in all seriousness, we probably had the worst tight end room in the entire National Football League last season. Guys that you probably don't even know: Tyler Kroft, Griffin. What's the frig his name? I can't even remember now. Ryan Griffin. We had Kenny Yeboah, an undrafted free agent as well, playing at certain times. And the tight end room, we got better bringing in Uzomah. Hopefully he can stay healthy. That's a huge factor with him. And Braden, this is a great comment to make. Ron Middleton is probably one of the most beloved coaches on this entire coaching staff. And, he probably loves Uzomah, right? You'd have to imagine if they're bringing this guy in. Ron Middleton probably thinks that this dude has a lot of potential and can make big plays for Zach Wilson in the red zone. which to me is really one of the key factors in winning and losing football games. Being able to score in the red zone is I would say very much the same type of conversation when you're talking about turnover differential. People often say, oh, whoever wins the turnover battle is going to win the football game. And it's true. That's a huge factor, but there's so many other factors that play into winning and losing, and efficiency and, being able to score or to stop the other team from scoring in the red zone, huge indicator of winning and losing. Kicking field goals in the red zone feels like a win. It ain't that great of a win. You want to get 7 points on the board when you get in the red zone. That is a huge deciding factor in winning and losing. And again, Uzama will help us with that. Jeffrey R is hyped up about it. I am as well. Let's see here. And I think that's fine to say, Robbie Oak. Listen, Zach Wilson hasn't shown everything that he needs to show. We know the talent's there. He's got to do it in the season, though. He's got to prove it in the NFL. He's got to prove it this upcoming season that he is the legit quarterback of the future for the New York Jets. And Jim Pock, you bring it up. If he had some more time in the pocket last season, that's the thing. If he has more time, and the O-line's improving, and I think that we're still going to see a work in progress with our offensive line. I know that's going to shock some of you. I think that continuity and chemistry on an offensive line is also one of the most underrated things that people don't talk about enough. You have to have these guys playing together and understanding what the other lineman next to you is going to do. It's not just being able to block the man in front of you. It's understanding and being in sync with one another, how to approach different fronts on the defensive line and the different looks that you're getting. It's a mental game. The offensive linemen, they get this rap for being big, stupid, fat guys that run around on the football field, and it's just not the case. It is there's a very high mental aspect that comes along with being an offensive lineman in the National Football League. And so I think that's where you're going to see, our offensive line take the biggest improvement is how are they playing after that, I want to say maybe like October. When we get into November and December, our offensive line should be playing at a very high level. Tony O, new subscriber to Jets Today. Thank you very, very much. I really, really appreciate that. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and do it right now. All right. I'm losing my voice over here. I'm talking so much. Let's see if anybody wants to come on to the show. Let's check Twitter. Just trying to make sure I don't deny anybody a chance. And it looks like we're good. So if you have not considered doing so, come and talk football with me on the stream right now. Follow me and DM me on Twitter or Instagram. Either one will work. Let's see here. Oh, that sucks. Super Alvin Star. I think he would have been a really good option. I didn't see the news yet. I haven't been on Twitter, during the show. Super Alvin Star is saying that Xavier Woods was signed. This is a playmaking young safety for the Minnesota Vikings. I think that he would have been one of the better fallback options for the New York Jets. But I will say, if another team signed him, there's going to be other safeties that are going to still be available for the Jets to pounce on. And there's a number of them still. I think there's a lot of depth with the safety class in the draft. There's a lot of depth with the safeties in free agency. Kyle Picnic, thank you very much for subscribing, dude. Really appreciate that. All right. Michael N. He says, John, is there a player in this draft that you love that nobody is talking about? Someone that will be taken in the late rounds? Okay. So, again, I mentioned I'm not Mel Kiper. I am going to give you a name. I don't know if he's a late round pick. In fact, he's probably a second or third round pick. So bear with me here. But my guy that, again, he's not a late round pick, but I don't think enough people are talking about him, is Cameron Thomas from San Diego State University. This is in my opinion, a J.J. Watt clone. No, I'm not saying he's J.J. Watt. He's not going to be, a borderline Hall of Fame type of defensive end. I don't know if he'll do that in the NFL, but he's built like J.J. Watt. He can play all over the defensive line. He can play edge. He can play on the inside. He would give us some versatility, in how we want to rush the quarterback. And he would also help us on the interior. We talked about defensive tackle earlier. Having a guy that can play inside and outside, I think, is very, very intriguing. And you watch the film on Cameron Thomas, he is an absolute animal and a maniac, and tons of, all gas, no break in his film. He is a just constant effort guy, never quits, and gives his all every down. I've been singing about him all off season, and he's a guy that I think would fit really, really nicely on this defensive line. And again, would be able to fill two needs with one player. And so I feel bad. I'm not really giving you a late round guy. I'll give you another name, and he might be a mid to late round guy as well. This is safety Kirby Joseph out of Illinois. Had a really, really big year this past year in 2021. And he's one of the best safeties in the class in the 2021 season regarding coverage and just making big plays. Matty NY Jets, thank you for subscribing, dude. Really appreciate that. Kirby Joseph, I think, is another guy that I've been keeping my eyes on all offseason. And he would be a great guy to pair up with a signed free agent, a Justin Reed, a Marcus Williams, whoever your flavor is. I think that Kirby Joseph is another one that I would keep my eyes on. He's not an explosive athlete. I think he ran a 4.5 40-yard dash, but versatile, physical tackler, and can play coverage. He can play that deep safety spot. So I really like the idea of that. K Short, thank you for subscribing to Jets Today, man. You guys are smashing the subscribe button. I mean, I've picked up, 40 subscribers over the stream. It's crazy. Jets fans are thirsty, let me tell you. Okay, Eddie DeJesus is confirming it for me. He says Xavier Woods signed a 3-year, nearly $16 million contract with the Carolina Panthers. He only got that? Damn. That's a really good buy for the Panthers, I think. Interesting. That would have been a really good signing, and that's not a lot of money. That makes me think that maybe, thank you for the super chat, Thomas Cahill. I am going to read your comment in just a moment or two. That makes me think that maybe the Jets are looking to the draft. Did they sign LaMarcus Joyner with the intent to be a starter and to be their veteran in the secondary? We've talked about Jason Pinnock. Maybe they really, really like Jason Pinnock as a safety long-term on this defense. I personally don't want Ashton Davis starting, but maybe he's a guy they feel good about. I don't know. I personally wouldn't do that, and I don't think that's the case, but that's a really good a good contract for the Carolina Panthers, and I would have been tickled if the Jets had signed him for that. I think that's a great value. Let's keep it going here. Let's see. Got a spammer in here. Let's key. Everyone report that spam. Yeah, Grant Rude, I just banned them. Don't you worry. It is gone and it is over. Let's keep going now. Some more comments. The Texans are signing veteran guard AJ Cann. 2-year deal, $10.5 million with a $4.5 million fully guaranteed. That's a good buy for the Texans. That's a pretty solid starter there. My question to you guys, and if you had told me, a couple of days ago that this could be an option, could we possibly bring Laurent Duvernay-Tardif back as a backup. I personally thought that he was going to want to start, but man, if we could get him as a backup, whoo, that would be great. Depth, a veteran, and played very admirably last year, I thought, when he was on the football field. All right, we got this super chat from Thomas Cahill. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says, 2 players that I love are Perrion Winfrey and Kyle Phillips, the wide receiver. I think a lot of people like Perrion Winfrey. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is he the Oklahoma defensive lineman? Very, very high motor guy himself. And this is a great question. Thomas Cahill. I want defense early and often in the NFL draft. So if they decide to go and get themselves Perrion Winfrey, sign me up. I want to get as many young, talented defensive players in this draft. I really am starting to think that's the way to go. All right, Isaac Wright, to answer your question, they do. However, I didn't tell them about it. They found me online, which is odd because I had told my students that I had a channel last year and they never found it. And then this year, for some odd reason, my kids were able to find it. So yeah, my students know about it and I don't talk about it a whole lot with them. All right, Keith Herring Jr., he says, seems good to have confidence in the moves our team has made so far. Yeah, I think have faith and be excited. What's the point of being a fan if you're not going to be excited for the moves that they make? I mean, I'm not saying have blind optimism by any means, but be excited. That's the whole reason why we're fans. And if you're not, if that's not your thing as a fan, like if you just kind of wallow through misery, I think, try to look on the bright side every once in a while. That's kind of the idea, right? So yeah, good comment. And I think it is where you should have confidence. I think Laken Tomlinson, may have been the best veteran guard that was available, and especially the one that fit what we are doing on offense. Certainly, I think you can make that case. All right. Jeffrey R. says, we're taking Kyle Hamilton. I don't know, man. I don't know. Could be, though. That's the other thing. Like, if they don't make any big moves for safety, and if, like, we're sitting here on draft night and we're still here with Jason Pinnock, Ashton Davis, LaMarcus Joyner, and we're sitting there at the 4th overall pick, I don't know. Maybe that would be the case. Maybe they'll do that. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, good mentor. I'm seeing a lot of people. Yeah, want LDT back very bad. Again, I would have never expected him to be brought back as a backup. I always thought that he wanted to be a starter. The rumor is the Jets are trying to make that happen, though. That would be a huge, huge addition to the offensive line to have some real depth. Not imaginary depth, not with Greg Van Roten sitting there behind you. Ronaldo Alonso. Thank you so much for subscribing to Jets Today. Really appreciate that. Can we get to 2K? Again, that's the question. We're like 50 short here. We're close. Phillips is going to be a breakout player in the NFL. I think he's referring to the receiver that Mr. Cahill was mentioning. I like the Jets getting in the 2nd and 3rd round Jalen Tolbert, Matthew Katz. How do you feel about Sauce at 4 and Wilson at 10? Actually, you know what? I was going to say let's do it. I'm going to say no, actually, to that. And it's a simple answer. We got to get an edge at 4 or 10. I'm fine with taking Sauce at 4. I'm fine with taking Wilson at 10, but we can't do both, in my opinion. We have to come out of the top 10 with an edge to complement Carl Lawson. Carl Lawson, we're all hoping, comes back healthy, dominates, and looks just like what he did prior to suffering his knee injury, because he was dominating the Jets training camp. He was the best player, and if you talk to anybody, I don't care who they were, He was the best player on the field. He was unblockable. If he can get back and being healthy, that's fantastic. We're then going to have 2 edge rushers that are pinning their ears back and going right after that quarterback. But you can't put all of your eggs in that basket. It's too risky. We saw the repercussions of not having another edge. It impacted our defense too dramatically. We have to get an edge in the top 10. I think that's the only thing as of right now today that I say we must do is we must get an edge in the first round of this NFL draft, unless they make some bold trade or, picking up a trade with Danielle Hunter from the Vikings, or if they're going to sign a Chandler Jones. I say go get your edge at 4 or 10 and let's roll. Okay, K Short. Adorable dog. Love the profile picture, my man. My man or my woman, because I don't know. I've got girls on the channel who watch too. Do we take Ekwonu or Neal at 4 if they are there? Okay, great question, and I'm going to address it. So I'm going to say no. I'm going to say we will not, and here's why. I think that the Jets are going to give Becton another year. And I think that he will bounce back. I think that the Beehive was struck. I think Mekhi Becton is going to be playing angry in 2022. And I think that he is hungry to get back to his almost Pro Bowl level, which he did have in his rookie year. So I think Mekhi Becton's motivated, and George Fant was one of the better pass protecting left tackles. Excuse me, one of the better pass protecting left tackles in the National Football League last year. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say for right now, don't take a tackle early, but we should be addressing the offensive tackle position so we're not screwed if it doesn't work out with Becton. Go and get a free agent and also consider taking one in the mid rounds. I've been saying for a long time, that's how you have long-term success on the offensive line. It's not just drafting first-round pick players. It's also it's also adding young players to develop over the years, and again, giving these guys time to learn. There's too much to learn, and I think that, having them play year one isn't always the best scenario. And that's why I love the Laken Tomlinson signing so much, is we don't have to go get a guard in the NFL draft. We're good. Guard's done. Assuming health, we don't need a starting right guard. We don't need a starting left guard. It's done. So go get some more players to develop and to, have over the course of the next coming seasons. I think that's the way to go. If you disagree with that, of course, I respect it. There are still people out there who agree with you that we should still look to go get ourselves an offensive lineman. Okay. I am running out of steam here. If you have not, hit the like button for me, guys. We've still got over 120 of you guys in here. Hit the like button for me if you haven't already. And this has been an absolute blast tonight. I was not sure, how many people would join me, but it was very similar to last night. And we had just such an awesome time talking off season, talking Jets. So can't thank you enough. The support has been absolutely tremendous, and can't wait to keep going, man. I'm going to be live Wednesday with James. I think I mentioned that earlier. Going to be live with him on Wednesday night, and we will have our topics. And be on the lookout for the mailbag. I do post a mailbag on Twitter. I'll start posting it on Instagram as well, because I do have some different followers on Instagram. And also be a lookout for the mailbag on the community tab for YouTube. I do post that, and I get your questions on the show to start every Wednesday live stream. So keep your eyes out for that. John Perez, he says Marcus Williams and DJ Chark. Marcus Williams, let's go. If we can get him, I think that's a huge get. It would be expensive, but I'd be willing to take the swing because he's a great player. I'm going to say DJ Chark scares me a little bit. Injury and a little bit up and down. I think that could be partly because of the poor play in Jacksonville. But similar to what I said to somebody else, you're not alone. There's a lot of people that want DJ Chark. He's one of the most common names that I hear about fans wanting to pick him up and putting him on the outside. That boy can run and he can make big plays down the field. So I get it. Commander Cool. He says, pick up Cam Jurgens as your center in the 4th round. He is an incredibly fun center to watch. That's the great spot to go get yourself a developmental piece in the 4th round. And again, I like the idea of keeping Connor McGovern in the starting lineup. And then in 2023, let a dude like this take over. He will have had a year being in the NFL, learning in the scheme, learning how to be a New York Jet, learning how to be a professional, and then you plug him in. I think that's the way to roll with the offensive line especially. Man, you guys are relentless. You just come in and you give me so many different things to talk so much about. Absolutely appreciate that. I do apologize, guys. Not sure what the spam's all about. Doing my best here. Elliot Spencer, what's up, dude? Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate that. Sorry about the spamming, guys. Smokin' J Cut fan just subscribed. Will tune in regularly. Really appreciate that. Looking forward to interacting with you guys. All right, so it looks like you guys are ready to end the night. I really can't thank you enough. This has been an awesome stream. Can't wait to talk to you guys on Wednesday night. Go Jets. Let's do one more Jets chant. Oops. Wait a minute. There we go. I will see you guys on Wednesday night. Have a great night. Go Jets. Can't wait to see what they do in free agency because you know damn well they're going to make moves. Word from my daughter.